All right, so we're going live. Welcome, everybody. I'll switch cameras back. Sound check, John. I presume I'm okay. Wow. That sounds cool, Lynn. Love San Diego. Um, yeah, I can't wait for you to fly over here. And I swear, you better make time to come out to the house. I'll come and get you. Just tell me where and when. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, John. Love San Diego. I used to go there on business all the time, and a lot of cool places to go to. One of my favorites, Kansas City barbecue. The food stinks, but the ambiance is pretty cool. That's the the bar from Top Gun, where Goose was playing the piano. Hey, Niecy, where you been hiding, girl? Niecy, you need to come over to the house one Friday and co-host with me. And run trains. Yeah, I've been to. I got elected to our HOA, and so that takes a lot of my time now. Got elected to the HOA board, and then they elected me president. Go figure. Yes, I did, Jared. Not Kansas City barbecue in Kansas City. Kansas City barbecue, the restaurant in San Diego. All right. I love Kansas City barbecue, the place. All right. The style. All right. The restaurant in San Diego is nothing like it. And it's a bar. All right. I just have some barbecue, crappy barbecue. Hey, Rick. I hope so, Jared. Best barbecue I've ever had. All right. Was not in Kansas City, and not in my old stomping grounds of Chicago, but in a old staple restaurant, famous in its area, in Ames, Iowa, called Hickory Park. I don't live in California, Bernard, and have no intention of ever living there. Hey, Dwight. Get your lunch, Niecy. Hate to deprive you of that. So what's everybody up to? I have a couple locomotives out. Change screens again. And all right. These are two Athearn Blue Box SD45s. In my operations number 2 video, I mentioned I normally double head that train that I was highlighting, but one was in the shop. Okay, and it's out of the shop, my shop, off my desk, all fixed, ready to go. Hey, Jackie, we're doing well. It's always peaceful when Lee's not around, right, Jackie? So anyway, these are two SD45s. You can tell, you should be able to tell rather quickly that although they're both Athearn and they're both blue box, old blue boxes, they're not identical. Can anybody pick out what the difference is? There's one obvious difference that you can see on camera. I'll start humming the Jeopardy theme song while I wait for somebody to answer. What's the obvious difference between those two locomotives? Hey, younger Steve. Well, I know the picture's blurry. It's pixelated from the camera that's way far away. All right. But you can still see the difference. It's fuzzy for me too, guys, but you can still see the difference. Truck colors, absolutely, Nisi. Absolutely. One is the one on the left is they're silver, and one on the right is black, and that's because the one on the left are metal side frames, and the ones on the right are plastic side frames. Because the one on the left is about 45 years old, and the one on the right is only about 20, 25 years old. Okay. Correct. Again, Derek, the truck colors. One on the left metal, one on the right is plastic. Now, what that means is, and we'll take a look. Anybody that's looked at a blue box knows how this is a fairly modern day blue box. And I'm going to switch cameras again. Okay. So, as we look at it, this is the plastic side frames. And the wheels, all right, pick up the current, and it goes through the little square bearings to a metal insert that you can see running along there. And the metal insert from each side goes to the top of the gearbox on the trucks. And then those lead to connectivity. There's a wire connected to the engineer side, and then the fireman side is goes through a pivot, a little pivot pin on the trucks to the side frame. All right, so that the truck can go back and forth and turn. Okay. Well, that can lead, especially on something as old as either of these, to some metal. Yeah, no, they're both the same cleanliness. It's just that one is 45 years old and the other's only 20. All right. And the gray on the older one is actually a different gray. Red was the same. One's just faded. Okay. But anyway, so the engineer side is wired. Okay, and they come wired to the motor, but it's a direct wire from that metal insert on the truck now to the decoder. The other side, when I originally did these, I wired the fireman side to the frame. Okay, because of that pin. And over time, corrosion, that's not the best way to do it. So I took them apart, and did away with wiring to the frame and wired to the metal on the top of the gearbox. Well, when I did the first one, I did the drilling, because when I wire to that, the plate is such that even if you sand it and scrape it up some, solder doesn't want to stick to it very well. And so I drill a small hole, run the wire through the hole, and then solder, so that the solder seeps through the hole and holds both sides. Anyway, when I drilled the hole on the first one, metal shavings got down in the gearbox and made for a severe grinding and lockup. No, these are DCC now. They were originally DC. Okay, so now both are not wired. Both are wired directly to the decoder. The fireman side the wiring from the decoder was wired to the frame, but now the truck is actually direct wired to the decoder to improve conductivity. Hopefully that makes sense. Then the other thing was, on the 45-year-old, okay, if you look closely, there's no bearings on this one. All right, take a look side by side. Now you can see the difference. This old one is the metal side frames. The axle is the conductivity. It's that plate. So it goes from the axle into the metal side piece, into the metal frames, and then through the 4 connection points, right, to the metal side plates inside the truck, if I'm making sense there. And then again, I've rewired them to for direct conductivity. So yeah, Lynn, I tried a small screw into the side frame. No, there's no room for decoder buddies in these. I tried a small screw to the side frames, Lynn, and I just wasn't happy with that performance. Okay. So now the solder into the plates on the trucks themselves have worked tremendously. Then what I also did was I put a Keep Alive in this older one. Okay. So, because I was having some restart issues with this one, and the Keep Alive solved that. The newer one I didn't have that problem with, and I don't know why. Yeah, it is a little warm today, if you're talking to me. But it's still, let's see, what is it? Well, it's not that warm. So it's showing 89 right now. It'll get up to around mid-90s. But you got to remember, where my train room was outside. It's just the walls behind me, the 2 walls. 2 of the 4 walls is just insulated panels that are put in, and windows that were put around the patio. Okay. And then I got a little portable air conditioner behind me to it'll keep it. It maxes out in here around 84. which is just enough controlled temperature that I don't have track buckling. So anyway, that was my project. Now both SD45s are back up and running. I do have one other thing to do though. These SD45s, because of the pivot point of the truck related to the frame and the body, the standard on my radius turns, it's from the pivot point back to the coupling is so long that they don't like coupling to a shorter rolling stock. Okay. And I thought about putting a longer shank on, but that would be counterproductive. So what I need to do is actually put a short shank, Katie, on. See, I don't have a problem with the two long ones. Let me go back to this picture. I don't have a problem with two long ones or two medium ones connecting between the two longer ones because they're both sticking out the same distance, so they're connecting. But if one is shorter and the other one is the medium, okay, it binds and it'll pop that car off. So I need to put a short shank on this one because this is the side that I use to couple to the train. So that's the next project, and that should solve the issues I've had with these. Hey, Randall. Short shank. Yeah. But anyway, they run real well now. And these will run on the main lines, no problem. Okay, and they'll pull a train around the main line, no problem. It's at one point down by the grocery distribution where the phase 2 inner main line switches into the yard that it's just a tighter radius that it creates that binding. Hey, hi, or hi, hey. I hope I did, Jared. I hope so. I haven't checked yet. I mean, that's what I've been trying to do. I've got almost everything I need. And there's a couple pieces of rolling stock I'm still looking for. But what I need the most is vehicles. So that's what I've been concentrating on it at Caboose Stop, the Wednesday Caboose Stop. I've got these muted now too, because I put a different sound file in them. Oh, the Trailways buses, you got the real ones? I need some fishbowl buses for the Chicago CTA is what I really need. To put up by Union Station. Oopsie. Oh, crap. I know what I forgot to do. Oopsie. Yeah. I forgot to connect the tracks when I set up today. You know, I'm my own worst enemy on derailments. If I'm not running a switch, And if John Linton was here, he could testify to that fact. He says I make the worst conductor ever. All right. Am I going the wrong way? Apparently so. But it's not even Sunday, Dwight. Yeah, it's hard to beat John Morris. He and I have actually become friends. We chat now and stuff offline. So not offline, but via Messenger. I've got a old grade school friend that just sent me a message to when the big boy schedule is. Her husband want my wife and I to come out. She sent me a well, that's one of my things for mail call, but I gotta go get it. Oh, I blocked the train as it went by. Oops. Ah, good deal, Bernard. John, I said the same thing. When I started looking at that 45-year-old SD45, I just wanted to put some plastic side frames on it, and I started trying to get the metal ones off, and started looking a little closer. I go, whoa, wait a second, this is not the same. When you say those vitamins are molded, do you mean moldy? Oh, I just got the notification that I'm live. All right. Glad they told me over 15 minutes into the stream. When am I holding what contest? Hi. I held a contest, what, last week or the week before? Last week. A trivia contest. I don't do contests very often. Oh, off the rails. Oh, yeah. Black on the inside. Yeah, I would say that they're probably out of date. You may want to check the dating on the bottle. The one you missed last time? Yeah, yeah. Well, John Linton won it. He was the only one that came up with the answer, and I don't even remember what the question was. It was a question from one of my videos. I know that. And anyway, he won a Penske Streamline Observation car and passenger car, and he should receive that today or tomorrow. The prize is moldy. No, Dwight's vitamins are moldy, not the prize. Hey, we'd qualify for off the rails here, wouldn't we? Or sidetrack, or both. Well, they obviously aren't. I tell you what, for 45 and 25-year-old engines, those two run excellent now. I think I'm just gonna slowly start adding keep alives to a lot of my locos, and it's not even the 6 axles. They help out with, especially with the way my wiring here is that I got to redo on the layout. All right, I will be right back. I got to go get one of the mail call items. All right, I'm back. So I'll tell you one nice thing about Facebook and other social media, computer in general, is hooking up or getting back or renewing old relationships. And what I'm talking about is my first girlfriend. Okay, my very first girlfriend, and it was, believe it or not, when I was in kindergarten. She taught me how to climb trees. She was a little bit of a tomboy. Anyway, she moved away, but then in high school, we both went to the same high school. But by that time, we had friends, opposite friends. So, we were never that close. Anyway, then when Facebook and stuff came out, we reconnected. Okay. And now her and her husband come down to Orlando, to Disney World. They're in the Disney Vacation Club. And they come down every 2 years. But they missed a year missed a trip because of COVID. So it's been 4 years since we've seen them. But we always drive up to Orlando when they're there. Have dinner with them one night. Okay. So, anyway, they live in, I think, somewhere near Fort Collins, Colorado, which is about 45-minute drive from the Colorado Model Railroad Museum. And I told them about the Model Railroad Museum. So when they got home, they went there. All right. And I told them to go look for Michelle Kempema. And say hi, but Michelle was out on the West Coast with John TSG Multimedia, John Abacola, and the super secret, and his super secret producer. Anyway, so she wasn't there, so she didn't get to meet Michelle. But what they did was they bought me. Ta-da! Now. Yes, it's 2019, but I think it'll be good again in 2026 or something like that. But no, they bought it for all the different pictures. And I got a derailment. Don't know why, but I do. Oh, okay. I did not derail. The coupler got hooked. Okay. Coupler got sagged and hooked on a frog. So anyway, here's a recap of all the different pictures. But there's some really nice pictures in the catalog. And these are all pictures. I mean, when you look at them, you got to do a double take. All right. These are all pictures of trains on their layout. Okay. But you have to do a double take because, I mean, some of them look pretty darn real. And there's a little story for each train. And for those who don't realize it, the layout for the Colorado Mile Railroad Museum actually depicts Oregon. Oh, kidney stones. Such fun. Not much you can do. They can blast, if it's big, they'll have to blast it with the ultrasound or go rooting around in there to get it out. I had one. No fun. All right, John, you have a great weekend. I don't know how they did this smoke. It's got to be photoshopped in. They did an excellent job with it. Yeah, they say a kidney stone is a male equivalent, and when a male has it, it's their equivalent of labor. All right, and I'd believe them. From the onset of symptoms till the time I actually got treated with some pain, an IV with painkillers was 6 hours. And that was the worst 6 hours I can imagine. And of course, it's got a picture of the real caboose that they restored. That's there in the museum. So anyway, pretty cool. I'm sure females have get kidney stones, but I've never heard of a female having a kidney stone. You would be the first, Nisi. From the way you're talking, it sounds like you've had one. Alrighty then. Okay. Yeah, we were talking a little bit about that, Rick. Yeah, I was bidding on everything Wednesday. I haven't gotten any in. You know, I go a month or two because I don't buy enough all at one time. Carol, every time I ask Carol, well, is it time to ship, Carol? She goes, no, you don't have enough yet, Steve. And I said, okay. You know, so it usually takes a month to two before I have enough that she'll ship it to me. Ruh-roh. Ruh-roh. I've got something going on. Do. And of course, it's the worst place possible. Oh yeah, it derailed big time. All right, talk amongst yourselves. Okay. All right. Yeah, I know. I don't. It's more my purchases are impulse than anything else. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna get kits, and if they have them, they're pretty well discounted. Um, I like the rolling stock and the vehicles the best. Now, if I was going to buy a new engine, I would probably do it through them because it's just so cheap. Cheap. Yeah, I bid on an item and I bid the wrong number. Matter of fact, that's how I got this tank car. Um, this tank car here I got just because I bid on the wrong thing, and it was a Virginia and Ohio, and I said, well, that's cool. I got decals in one of my kit of the month or month club from. Now, why is it doing that? Huh. Anyway, I had the decals for mini prints, so I stripped it down and redid it as a mini print tanker. God knows I didn't need a Virginia and Ohio. I never even heard of that railroad. I obviously have either some track that's bad or, well, it's got to be the track because it's done it in the same place. Let's change the direction. How's that? Let's do that. Oh, that's what I did. Through the switch. Ah, ran another switch. All right, Nisi, we'll see you later. Yeah. Yeah, Alco RSs are more typically than not. I mean, you can set them up either way, but typically most railroads ran them long hood forward. So while you think they're running the wrong way, they're actually running the right way for what they were set up for. I must have something. Ah, there it is. Let's go the other way. Um, are you sure off the rails? I mean, you can always change the polarity, but like I say, RS1s, the forward direction on an RS1 is typically long hood forward. Whereas Jeeps and U-boats, you know, they're all short hood forwards. Turn the layout around. Hey, Mr. Voodoo John. Hey, Anthony, how you doing? So we are gonna go ahead and put these SD45s away. Oopsie. Oopsie. If you have Decoder Pro off the rails, there's a simple setting in Decoder Pro that normal direction, either forward, normal direction, either reverse. And all you can do is change that in Decoder Pro. Or you go in and rewire the leads, whichever you prefer. I know Proto 2000s can be, the colors of the wires don't conform right to NMRI standards. So if you wire it up based upon color of the wires and so forth, you pretty good odds are it's not going to run the direction you think it's going to run. So at least on my E units and on my GPs. Track. Oh, you're DC. Okay. Yeah, just switch your wires around. That's easy enough. And you can either switch your wires around, add both sets of trucks if both trucks are power pickups. Oh, crap. Oops. Yeah, Rick, that might work, except for the lighting. And if the shell will allow you to just spin it. I know, like B units, that you can do that fairly simply. Bump, 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 bump. Off and off. Now. Okay. Well, here I go again, about ready to run a switch. Or two. There we go. Funny you should say that, John. The about 3 weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago. I did it, and it was only the second time, and it was the engine I won. It was the Dash 9 I won in Cousin Vinny's Christmas show giveaway, and the only thing it did was it broke the snowplow, and it popped the dog bone out of its socket. So it was a little super glue and take the shell off, pop the dog bone back in, and we were good to go. A lot less problematic than the first time I dropped one off the layout. Too technical. Who, me? I'm sure everybody's seen my clip of the one going off the layout. Okay, everybody pay attention. I'll do my what not to do. All right, here we go. What not to do. You're going to see a my California Zephyr with an E8. And this is way back, I think, right when I first got where you could run all the way around phase 1. As you can tell, phase 2 over there is just cluttered with crap. All right, and here goes. There she goes. Oh, I take it back. It's a Chicago Blackhawk. It's not the other one. Watch, 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 watch. Here it goes. Here it goes. There she goes. Whoa! Boom! And there's about 30 pieces spread all over the place. So that's what not to do. What not to do. That was before I had these clear guardrails. You know, I don't know if you can see them or not, but that's a clear Lexan right there. Too broke to pay attention. Switch this around. There. Now at least you can see when a train goes by. Yeah, Derek, that was my favorite engine. And where did I put it? Huh. I still have the chassis for it somewhere. The shell I kind of stuck back together, and it is actually the follow-on unit on the Zephyr now. I've got a new E8 leading, and then that one is double-headed with it, but it's got a new chassis. Oh. Yeah, uh, the Dash 9 I dropped off was I had it going around, and let me switch cameras. Yeah, here. Okay, so the Dash 9 was going around and leading a train, and it's coming along right through here, this track. Unfortunately, this track is the drop down. So it did an Evil Knievel off of the track. Luckily, the whole train didn't go over. It just uncoupled, and the rest of the train stayed up. So it could have been an Amtrak, Steve. Yeah, that E8 that went off was my first, what I'll call expensive locomotive. Prior to that, it was always I thought blue boxes were expensive, and then I'd always wanted a Burlington E unit, and had never seen one until I saw that proto at a train show in Oklahoma City when I lived there. Yeah, off the rails. You know, he's got those. Uh, I call them ribbon spy cams, and that's the next one I'm gonna buy because I like that flexibility of the between the circuitry and the actual camera lens. Um, this one is, you know, I've tried so many cameras, it's not even funny, but this one does a great job. This one and the GoPro, but the GoPro is too big really to run um, on a flat car. It doesn't have enough. It overhangs and has too much overhead clearance. Too tall. Now, if you don't have tunnel portals and things like that, uh, you don't have as much to worry about. Uh, but even watching Sparky and his GoPro, you know, it hits on things as well. Yeah, my Dash 9, the plow cracked in two, and unless you get up real close to it, I did a pretty good job for a change fixing it. Unless you get really, really close, you can't tell. I got it matched up really well before I super glued it. And I got a detail kit for one of my U-boats, and it's got a plow and sunscreens and mirrors and antenna and all kinds of stuff like that. It's been in the box forever, and I got it out thinking, oh, okay, I'll detail this thing, but I just haven't done it yet. Go figure. Good job then. Good job. Okay, I had one other mail item. It wasn't really a mail item. I was over at Ace Hardware, yesterday. Okay, and I needed some chainsaw bar oil for my chainsaw because I've been doing some tree trimming. And I'm looking around, and I just happened to notice something that I keep telling myself to buy, and for the railroad that I keep forgetting to do. Okay, so I bought this at Ace Hardware, and I'm sure many of you may have some. Uh, First time I was ever exposed to this is when I was a Cub Scout. Okay, and what it is graphite. Okay, and it is an excellent dry lubricant. It works well on couplers. Okay, if you got couplers that are sticking, and it doesn't take much. I can almost guarantee if you use it, you're going to put on too much and have it everywhere. So be careful. Use it sparingly. It doesn't take a whole lot. It works well on bearings uh, and on pivot points for wheel sets. All right, where they into the wheel sockets. And again, it doesn't take much. Very, very, very little. So anyway, graphite. But anyway, I started to tell a story the first time I was exposed to this. Back in the early 60s. Oh, hell, I wasn't even a Cub Scout. It was when my brother was a Cub Scout. So I would have been like 3 or 4 years old. Maybe 4 or 5. And my dad was doing pine wood derbies. And back then, people in the pine wood derby circuit weren't familiar with this. Some real fine emery paper and some graphite on the nail axles that come in those kits that weren't machined back in those days. And you had yourself a winning Pinewood Derby car, and everybody kept asking my dad what his secret was. The 2 years my brother was in Cub Scouts, and then my 2 years when I was in Cub Scouts, we always won the Pinewood Derby because my dad would never tell his secret. So anyway, great dry lubricant. Well, thank you, Derek. Well, I'll tell you what, Randall, the last thing you want the urologist to do is go rooting around in there for it. I know when I had my kidney stone, I was on a business trip driving, and I was in the middle of Appalachia when symptoms first came on. And I ended up driving for 3 hours because I did not want to stop in some small little town in the middle of Appalachia because I was 99% sure it was a kidney stone. And so I kept driving and finally got to Charlotte and went to, I guess it was Presbyterian Hospital or something like that near downtown Charlotte. And took another 3 hours before I got to see a doctor. Damn. So, and it was terrible. But I tell you what, when they put that IV in me, it was a matter of seconds. And I was fine. Yes, it does. Yes, it does get squeaks out of door hinges. It works great on locks. All right. Give a squirt into a lock, and the tumblers and keyways in there work out good. You've been suffering for 8 days, and you're just now doing something about it, man. You are a glutton for punishment, Randall. Yeah, I should have. I should have, Rick. I passed it the next afternoon. He gave me some painkillers, and I was fine. By the time I got to the hospital, it was still in the tube, but about to pass into the bladder. All right, and so by that point in time, you only got one time left when you're trying to pass it, and that typically is short lived. And if you got painkillers by that point in time, it's no big deal. But Randall, I would say yours is big and stuck, and they will probably have to use an ultrasound to blast it. And then you get to look forward to trying to pass multiple stones. Well, obviously it's too big to pass, Randall. Absolutely. Here you go. Here you go, Randall. Lube it up. It'll pass. We're having fun at your expense now, Randall. Sorry. 5 millimeter. I don't. Doesn't mean diddly to me. 5 millimeter to me would be fairly big. So they're either going to have to go in to get it or blast it with an ultrasound. So anyway, getting back to caboose stop, there was one piece of rolling stock that I bid on that I did not get. It was a Burlington covered gondola, and of course John Morris beat me to it. There may have been another car as well. I don't remember. But what I was bidding on the most was the bus. Bid on the bus, some trucks, the police car, um, or maybe some other cars. Any car or vehicle that is between 1940 and 1965, 66, I bid on when they come up. I don't know if you really should call it bidding. It's more like posting for. So 5 millimeters. What's that in English? Anybody know? What's that in HO? I don't have anything with metric on it. I used to. Used to could. Might could again someday. So a millimeter's almost like a 16th, right? Close to a 16th. So you're looking at something that's like a quarter of an inch. 5 millimeters, somewhere around a quarter of an inch. Anybody got a conversion program up? I'll look at it. All right, hang on. Uh, all right, so 5 millimeters is 0.19 of an inch. So it's like 3/8 of an inch, roughly. Right? Right. Which is still pretty freaking huge. Now, the pain you're going through now, Randall, is simply the urine backup, the back pressure. Yeah, that's what mine said too, Steve. 0.197, which is going to be about 3/8 of an inch, roughly between 3/8. Yeah, about 3/8 of an inch. What's 3 divided by 8? Jeez, how many calculations do we have to go through to get to an easy answer? I do. Come on. Where's my calculator? No, not 3/8. 2/8. 1/8. 3/16. Yeah, it's a little bigger than 3/16. A little bit bigger than 3/16. 3/16 is 0.1875. So a little bit bigger than that, which is still huge. Well, then I don't know why you're in any pain if you can still go to the bathroom. Yeah, really. Yeah, 3/16 is still pretty goddamn big. I know, like mine, when I passed it, looked like about the size of a piece of fine ballast. 3/16 is about three times the size of mine. Ruh-roh, I lost a train. Train. I don't know where it went. Huh. Oh. No, let's back her up. Oh. Looks good, Len. Looks real good. I should have given you the artwork for that I use. Okay, so there it is. Don't know why it came after 50 laps around the layout. Why it came on uncoupled, but okay. Hey, Robert, how you doing? We're all just talking about Randall's 5 millimeter kidney stone, which is about 3/16 of an inch. A little bigger than 3/16 of an inch. And of course, backing up, my train came derailed. Of course. So Randall, don't they have qualified medical care in the backwoods of Missouri / Arkansas border region? Oh, crap. I'd be serious. After 8 days, I'd seriously be questioning somebody's medical abilities. I know when I went to the hospital, they wanted me to pee in a cup. I said, I can't pee in a cup. That's why I'm in so much pain, you idiot. Good one, Steve. I'm sorry, Robert. We don't have the Flying Crow favorite topic. I'm glad you're a good sport, Robert. All right, I'm getting tired of this. All because I came uncoupled. I don't know why. Huh. All right. Plumbing may not have turnouts, but they have cleanouts. Ponder that one, Derek. All right. City of Los Angeles has had its fun for the day. There. Okay. Now I have on Tuesday, I'll have operations number 3. It's already filmed. I'm in the editing stage. It'll be the switching. It'll be the Santa Fe local, and which is goes down to Great Lakes. No, Lockport Industrial, and it switches out Vulcan Materials, Texaco Refinery, Great Lakes Grain, and Great Lakes Barge Company. And then it goes on to Aurora, to the farm and Aurora Fueling Facility. Yeah, Rick, now that you think about it, it's sitting. I had it out ready to put on. I don't know why I didn't. Oh, well. I'm not in uniform. Good pickup, Rick. All right. So what else, guys? How else can I bore you this Friday afternoon when most of you should be working, I'm sure. I was up at 2 o'clock this morning so that I could drive around our neighborhoods doing an HOA inspection. Yes, I'm one of those guys. Writing up people for breaking the rules that they agreed not to break. What's an LGN SWTH on my track? Tumblers broke in my LGN. Okay, you got me, Robert. I give up. Oh, way to go, Steve. Every day is my day off, supposedly. Actually, Rick, the association has a management company that does the inspections, but I'm stuck with the contract that was in place when I got elected, and there's no provision for enforcement of the overnight street parking. And here's the deal of why it is so important to me. Our streets in our neighborhoods are 24 feet wide. Okay, guys, get your calculators out. 24 feet wide. The average car is about 6.5 feet, and an average pickup truck 7 feet wide. So at 24 feet, and you can legally park 1 foot away from the curb. So your 24 feet is now, with cars parked on both sides, can be down to 22 feet. Now, if you get a couple pickup trucks parked there at 7 feet apiece, that's 14 feet off of the 22. That leaves 8 feet. Okay, if your math is the same as mine, and at 8 feet, you cannot get our EMS or fire trucks through. What's that in millimeters? All right, and I have seen repeatedly where emergency services have been delayed responding because we got assholes parking in the street overnight. Okay, and it's not only against the covenants and restrictions. A lot of times they're also breaking the law. So because by Florida law they have to leave at least 12 feet, and they don't. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm an early riser anyway. I have no problem going out and getting the pictures necessary to enforce the provisions. So what's that millimeter? It'd be in meters. A meter's what? A little over 3 feet, or a little under 3 feet. I can't remember. Don't care. Yeah. We have the world's worst sheriff's department, Rick. I have repeatedly, and here's the deal. If they're parked within a foot of the curb, okay, they're legal. Okay, and as long as they have the 12 feet separation between them. And even at 12 feet, our fire trucks are 12 feet wide. Our ambulances are 11.5 feet. All right. And you still can't get them through when they're parked legally. So the police department or sheriff's department won't do anything. All right. But we have it in our covenants and restrictions. So, We cannot have them towed, but we sure as hell can fine them for it. So if they continue on doing it. So yeah, please don't care about covenants and restrictions. They only care about Florida law, and even at that, they don't do. Trying to get them out here, people are parked across the sidewalks, blocking the sidewalks, which is against Florida law, and they won't enforce that. Okay, so. And I don't want to get into politics, but you can imagine the political makeup of Hillsborough County. Bernard. And you'd be surprised how many people just pull up on their front lawn, which is totally forbidden. All right. And they're typically renters. So don't get me started. Rant. I know Tom Kivicek always, when he lived over in Naples, always complained about his HOA. And rightfully so, based upon some of the things he was talking about. But our HOA was just the opposite. They didn't enforce diddly, and the neighborhood suffered because of it. Yeah, up north, Rick, where I came from up north, you couldn't park on the street, overnight. Legally, you couldn't. Because typically it related back to snow routes, but they just extended it to all seasons. So, yeah, I'm same. That's what I grew up with too, Rick. So. But anyway, we're getting it back in shape. For 3 years, the previous management company didn't enforce anything. New management company came in. They started their enforcement in January. And between January, February, March, April, May, and June, the first 6 months they were in, and actually only half of June, they had 299 violations cited of various different things, not just parking. And I took over as president mid-June. So mid-June to mid-July. Now keep in mind, 299 in 5.5 months. We had 399 in 4 weeks. I'm an asshole. Well, Randall, there's a difference between trains and vehicles. Just saying. Well, and Robert, that's your right. The people that want to live in an HOA agree to the covenants and restrictions. It's this is a deed restricted community. You cannot live where I'm at in my community without agreeing to the covenants and restrictions, and that's fine because it protects property values. Okay, but when you then have an HOA that doesn't enforce it, and my next door neighbor lawn is 2 feet high all the time. Okay, they built an ugly shed that is not approved. They don't have a fence. They have mold and mildew growing on the sides of their house. The paint is almost 20 years old, faded, and no good. They don't edge. I mean, their planting beds on the front of their house are overgrown, and that affects my property value. Okay, and they're contractually locked in to fixing it, and all the things I just cited, they've in the last 4 weeks they've gotten they and everybody else in that situation has gotten enforcement letters on. Okay, nobody has to live in an HOA, but when you move into a neighborhood with an HOA, it's a deed restricted community. You cannot close on the house without agreeing to those covenants and restrictions, and you should read them close beforehand. So, and I'm all for them. Now, I'll give you a classic example of taking a step too far. We're under watering restrictions right now, imposed by the county, because the county, in their infinite wisdom, has allowed all this development to go on, and they don't have the infrastructure to supply water at the proper pressures to all the communities. Okay. Again, the government. And so our HOA has been lenient on lawn condition, because people can only water once per week. And our soil here is all sand, so you water and it just goes away. You have to constantly water, and you can't. So we understand that, and we're lenient on that. Okay. But and so you can get HOAs that get out of hand. They overinterpret things, etc. That's not what we're doing here. These are simple rules that everybody's expected to abide by, and have been agreed to, or they wouldn't have been able to buy or move into their house. Yeah, you got covenants and restrictions, and then you have promulgated rules. And in our covenants and restrictions, which are totally legal by Florida law, there's a provision in there you can promulgate rules in various areas, including parking. Okay, and the people's first line of defense is, well, you can't enforce parking on a county street. Well, yes, we can. All right. Florida law says we can, as long as it's covered through our covenants and restrictions. Okay. Simple as that. So it's where HOAs get out of hand is where they are making rules that are unreasonable. All of our rules are based upon federal, state, and local laws. Okay? That automatically makes them, under the eyes of the law, reasonable. Yeah, parking things in our yard is not allowed here. All right. You can put a boat and camper and things like that in your backyard, as so long as it's not visible from the street. How will Nestle fill their water bottles at the factory without the community water restrictions? I don't know. They're not here. We enforce everything, Robert. Everything that's in our covenants and restrictions and our rules. And again, it goes back to the reasonableness of the rules. And if it's law, it's reasonable. So now, there is a provision under Florida law. You cannot do selective enforcement. Okay? So if you enforce something on one person, you have to enforce it on everybody. Okay? No problem with that. Now, it's not to say that we miss something. Okay? If there's 10 people cited for something and there's another person, somebody comes up and says, well, you didn't cite this guy. Well, yeah, we're human. We miss things. All right. But because you brought it to our attention, I'll go over and give them a citation. Yeah. No, ours, the reason we have the watering restrictions, it's not because we don't have the water. Okay. We've got the water. We have no way, we have no, they didn't build a pumping station down in our part of the county that can handle the explosive growth that we're experiencing down here. Don't even get me started on unions. What, Lynn? That's not the HOA's problem. If it's outside the park's purview. All right. Anyway, so much for that. I only mentioned HOAs because what time I woke up this morning to do the overnight parking inspections. Ain't that the truth, Steve? Yeah, build everything you want to build. We'll collect impact fees to cover the infrastructure, and 10 years from now we'll actually build it. In the meantime, you know, like 5 years ago when we moved here, we could drive the 3 miles down to I-75 and get on I-75, no problem. We're on the expressway in 5 to 10 minutes. Now, half an hour easy. Okay. Just because of the explosive growth, and that intersection wasn't designed. There's no direct access onto the expressway. You have to go through a series of stoplights, which is just totally stupid for the amount of traffic that we have. You should have direct on and off ramps. So with merging. But anyway, here nor there. It is what it is. And then they just built a new flyover. All right. And didn't put entrance and exit ramps for it on the I-75. So, you know, somebody's got their head up their ass in the planning department. Well, folks, I'm going to cut this off. We're at an hour and just under 40 minutes. Yeah, Rick used 2 words, is and a. Just HOA is a pain in the ass. Just kidding. Laugh my ass off. By the way, GTG. Ta-ta you later. Whatever. I don't know. Anyway. That's okay, Robert. You can watch the replay. That's how I watch most live streams anyway. At 3 and 4 in the morning. All right, folks. Thanks for stopping by, and hopefully we learned a little something on the old SD45s and some graphite and old train calendars. All right, folks. We'll see y'all later. Y'all have a great weekend. Hopefully, I'll see y'all on Anthony's at 3:30. Opa Dodge, and Cousin Vinny's tonight. So we'll see y'all later. Bye.